Social shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hit me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. This some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yes, peeps, we are back in the building. We got a bit of a different one today. I know everyone's probably looking a little bit confused, but as I always say to people, you know me, I'm a football connoisseur. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm always looking at different teams, and I'm always intrigued, actually, to be honest with you, with other football clubs, how they're run, and, you know, things that they're doing and stuff like that. So obviously today I want to take a look at Manchester United. Now, of course, listen, first and foremost, make sure you're smashing the like, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. But more importantly, in fact, I lied. There's nothing more important than that. Make sure you do it. But moving on, should I say, Manchester United are a weird one, right? Like, obviously, we know, like, listen, the nostalgia merchants like myself, we know what Manchester United's on. Do you know what I mean? Like, they bullied us for years. They were the top dogs. You know, you couldn't chat to them, you know, treble winners, you know, winning 3 in a row, you know, all of this kind of stuff, right? They were just the best, had the best players and all this kind of stuff. So seeing them in this position, obviously as a Liverpool fan, I'm like, shame. But I'll be so honest with you. Like, forget even being a Liverpool fan, just being a football fan. At this point, when I look at Manchester United, sometimes I'm just like, starting to feel a bit sorry for you. Like, as in, like, it's, and some of it isn't even football related. It's like, just you as a football club. I'm like, really? Like, I don't know, man. Like, you obviously you're not a threat, you know, to my team or my position in football standing, you know, so to speak. Obviously, big commercial side, of course. You know, Manchester United, I feel like they're never really going to lose that unless they go like 20 years, another 20 years, for example, without winning a title. Then yeah, maybe that might start falling. But in a general sense, I'm like, they're a massive club, regardless of what anyone wants to say, what anyone thinks. You know, they're still one of, if not the biggest, alongside Liverpool, you know, club in football in England. You know, and that says something, considering Manchester City are the best club side in English football at this current moment in time. And you know, you got your Chelseas and your Arsenals and stuff like that, but they're obviously still, you know, highly thought of. But yeah, like at this point, I'm just like, yeah, man, it's starting to get sad now. Yeah, like, listen, of course, yes, people are gonna do the rivalry thing. I get all of that, and the reality is, I don't really care whether they do good or not. But just from a pure footballing aspect, yeah, it's kind of sad seeing a team like Manchester United, you know, with the way that it's currently being run and stuff like that. And that goes on to, of course, to my next point. And you know, Sir Jim Radcliffe, you know, now, and Ineos, you know, of course, taking over there, and you know, they're all in charge. And look, I'm not even going to try and pretend like I understand what's necessarily going on. Again, this is more of an outsider's view into, you know, the football clubs and, you know, stuff like that. And you know, I saw this come up the you know, the other day, and I'm looking at it, and it says, you know, Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are planning on making further 100 to 200 redundancies at Manchester United to cut more costs. And apparently the latest staff redundancies are aimed at freeing up cash for Ruben Amorim to spend on the first team. You know, the fact that, and again, this is whether this is true or not. Let's go with the premise that this is true, right? Just go with me here. The fact that they're in this kind of position where this is where you're at now as Manchester, big Manchester United, you know. Yeah, I mean, this ain't small. This is big Manchester United, and this is the position that you're currently in, where now it's like, yeah, we got to lay people off, you know, to get so. And I don't even know how much that would even bring in, but that's what they've got to necessarily do, you know, or potentially do in order to free up funds because of obviously the PSR and all of that kind of stuff. And it's like, wow, you've really fallen. Now, listen, Manchester United fans, they'll be able to tell me, and please in the comment section, let me know. Like, obviously with the Glazers and how they've obviously ran the football club over these, you know, since they came in, to be honest with you. And to be fair, Manchester United, like some I know, have been complaining even when you had Fergie and things weren't really popping. Like, well, things were popping, should I say? Sorry, because you've only been good. Like, people were still angry with the Glazers. And then now they're looking at it and they're like, well, obviously you've not got Fergie anymore. You've had all these other managers, LVG, Mourinho, Solskjaer, Ten Hag, now Amorim. You know, you've had all of these guys come into the football club and things have just seemed to have just got progressively worse, you know, and that in itself is like almost an indictment on Manchester United as a football club. I mean, I hear, you know, all about the stadium, you know, being, you know, leaky and all of this. You got rats running around. It's like, brother, like this ain't a good look. This really ain't a good look, you know, on Manchester United. And look, obviously you've got Ruben Amorim, who's obviously come into the job, and you know, you saw the thumbnail, and you guys can see it says patience, and that's probably one thing I would. I'm not here to really give advice, and at the end of the day, I don't. It's one of those, like, you take it however you want to take it, but I almost feel like patience is gonna need to be required for Manchester United fans at this current moment in time. Listen, I've been where you guys are at right now. Take it from a guy who supports Liverpool Football Club. We have been rubbish for 30 odd years, give or take. Look, let's put it, we ain't won a league title, or we hadn't won a league title for 30 odd years. Do you know what that means? And I'm born in that period. Do you get what I mean? So I didn't get to see what Liverpool were on. I didn't get to understand what Liverpool were about. There was none of that. When I started watching Liverpool, we were just known as the Spice Boys, and we were known as this kind of young team, but we don't really take them that seriously. And they might do good and come third or come second, but they're realistically to win the league. No, we don't really believe that. Well, not even that we don't believe that. They might believe that at the time, but it's more, yeah, we're looking at United, we're looking at Arsenal, potentially even a Leeds or whoever, you know, kind of thing. And that's how far we had fallen. And then you continue on to like the 2010s era, and, you know, the Roy Hodgson, Kenny Dalglish coming back in. Honestly, it's been horrible. Honestly, like, how you know it's been mad is that we've had to celebrate just like moments, you know, in time. Now, not say nobody does, because everybody, like Man United, would celebrate the treble, and some fans still talk about it, as rightly so, right? But it's more, we haven't won anything else, so that's all we have to really cling on to, kind of thing. So I've been where you guys are at this current moment in time. I know what it's like to your team to be shit. Maybe not this shit, but to be shit in a sense of, yeah, we're languishing in the bottom half of the table, and things are just not really working out. We keep getting in different managers. Like, I've been there. I have totally been there. But patience is obviously required. Now, whether Ruben Amorim is going to be the guy to change that is obviously a different matter altogether. But, you know, since he's kind of come in, his first 20 matches, 10 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses. 30 goals scored, 32 conceded. Again, I just look at that and I think, obviously, you want more. Well, I mean, they have got more wins than they have got losses, but I do get it in terms of the frustration, because people talk quite a lot about the football that they play, the formation, the style of play, and all of these kind of things. And they have every right to, as a Manchester United fan, you have the right to, you know, to be angry at that if you don't feel like it's conducive to the way that you guys need to play in order to get the victories. But I feel like if you just give him a bit more time, and this is where I kind of stand with Amorim, because I do think he's actually a really good coach. I do think that, you know, in his last, like, what's that, 5 games, they've won 4. Might have not liked the football, but you're getting the victories. You're getting the victories, you know, ultimately. And sometimes it's just about trying to gain that momentum, trying to gain that kind of rhythm, you know, throughout the club. And listen, this doesn't even start with Amorim. That's the worst thing about this whole thing. This isn't even an Amorim type of situation. No way. This is literally a Sir Jim Radcliffe. This is a Manchester United type of situation where they need to start from, potentially from the ground up, but in this context, you start from the top. It has to start from the top, because you've seen with Manchester United, in terms of, it's like, I said this before to someone, it's like you've got a disease within your football club. And no matter what you keep changing, no matter what paracetamol you keep giving yourself, until you actually gut that shit out, I promise you, nothing is going to change. And at this moment in time, that's just where you're at, you know, in terms of whatever this disease is, you've still got it at the football club. It's not gone yet. It won't go until you obviously, you know, things start to change fully, you know, kind of thing. What that looks like, I don't know. It might not even look like winning anything. You might not even be in that type of position, but you'll be out of this. You'll at least be, you know, on recovery at the bare minimum. Right now, Manchester United are not in recovery. They've still got that disease, and they're still trying to almost put you know, take paracetamol thinking, oh yeah, it'll go away in a couple of days' time, but that's not what's happening. Do you know what I mean? And little things are helping, so to speak, to get to that point where you've gutted it out and it's gone. But until it's gone, you're going to be left in this position, people. You're going to be, you know, left in this position. You know, you've got like, you know, Dallo obviously saying here, you know, with this manager, he thinks they can win the Premier League. If he genuinely believes that, who am I to say that, you know what I mean? Like, he's chatting rubbish. If he genuinely believes that, he's there training with him, you know, every day, he might see something. You know what I mean? He might actually genuinely see something. But one of the things, and this is probably like my main talking point, is obviously the tactics, style of play, formation, whatever the hell you want to put it under, right? Ruben Amorim plays a 3-4-3. That's what he plays. Manchester United hierarchy knew this before coming in. The fans knew this. They were doing videos telling everybody about, yeah, so we can maybe play this guy here and that guy. You all knew this. With the same players that you had, you knew that this is what this guy does. Why is it when results don't go your way, your first thing is he needs to change it? Why does he need to change any? You knew what he was about. You knew what he was about. So he doesn't need to do anything. He's doing exactly what you paid him to do. This is exactly what you paid him to do. You paid him to come in and try and change the club around. Now, he ain't going to do that. He was never going to do that this season. I can tell you that for free. It was never going to happen. Like, it was never going to be like, yeah, he's going to come in. All of a sudden, we're going to go on a run of like 15. It doesn't work like that. Your players are awful. A lot of them are awful players. You got good players in there, by the way. You have, and I'll go through some of them. You have actually got good players in there, but the majority are awful. On top of the fact that you still have this disease at your football club. What that disease is, by the way, and if anybody's even asking, I don't know. But I just know it's not gone yet. That's all I do know. Because you can see, again, outside looking in, you can see in terms of little thing like leaks coming out. That tells me straight away your disease is still there. Do you know what I mean? Like, why are little things still coming out at your football club? You've changed the manager. You've got new ownership. Why is it still these kind of little things that we saw rumbling under an Ollie, under a Ten Hag, and so why is it still here? It shouldn't be, right? That probably should have been eradicated. And we're not talking little leaks like contract situation, or no, we're talking little leaks like players are disgruntled and this, that. And I'm like, what? Like, who's talking to the press? Do you know what I mean? Who's talking to the press? But back to Amorim and his tactics. The guy has played 231 matches, won 165, lost and drawn 33 each. This is his tactic. It's boring now seeing Manchester United fans say, but if we ain't got the players, then I don't think he should. Shut up. I'll be honest, shut up. Please shut up. You sound dumb. Like you to us on the outside, you sound dumb. Because the reality is, you knew what this guy was coming in to do. You knew what he was going to play. So don't act surprised when he's doing exactly that. Unfortunately, in this case scenario, you're going to need to blame the players. Or you're going to need to blame the hierarchy. Amorim, for me, is absolved of that. He's completely absolved of that. Because I knew coming in, this is what he does. It's not like it's a shock, like, oh, right, he's moved to a back three. Fucking hell, man. But he's been playing four at the back. No, he plays with a back three. That's what he does. Did you know what I mean? This is what he was doing at Sporting. This was the game against Manchester City. 3-4-3. That's what he does. So when he goes to United, he's going to do very similar. Heck, they've even got this here as a 3-4-2-1. So you know what? He has changed it. Fuck it. You know what I mean? He's changed it. He was doing 3-4-3 here, but to be fair, Gonçalves and Trincao were kind of playing behind 𝐒𝐄𝐄 anyway, so it could have been the same thing. But he's got it here. 3-4-3, 3-4-2-1, whatever. It's the same thing. So why do Manchester United fans act so freaking baffled? The only thing that should baffle you is, why is he playing Dorgu on the right and Dalot on the left? That part confused me more than anything. But to be fair, if he's using his wing-backs like wingers, and he wants them to be able to cut infield because he wants to play, he wants it more congested in the middle of the park, maybe I can kind of understand, because then an Ahmad or a Mainu can then pull out wide, or Bruno Fernandes with their Mainu dropping in alongside 𝐒𝐂𝐀𝐃, then maybe I can kind of maybe understand it. But that part was weird when I saw that, you know, to be fair to Manchester United fans. But in terms of the actual like line formation, for me, I'm just like, why do you keep going on about this, bro? Like, this is what he plays. Like, get over it. Like, it is what it is. You knew that coming in. So guess what? We're here now. The fact that the only reason why you're mad about it is because in your eyes, obviously, it's not working. You've lost 8 games. So, of course, it looks bad on the face of it. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter at this point. You just got to hope you get to the summer, sort out your finances, sort out everything, and then you get the players in. Once he's got his players in, I think the formation and everything, and also as well, some of these players, like I like Ahmad, I like Mainu, Yoro, I think is a decent player. Mazraoui, I think is a decent player. Bruno Fernandes, I think on his day is actually a really good player. Dallo, I really, really like. I think he can definitely. Like, I wouldn't sell him. I would keep him. Even if you sign someone else to play in that position, I would still keep him. As a player to come in rotation and stuff like that. It's where you're looking at like the Højlunds. I like Højlund, but he's really not showing what he's supposedly about, and that's kind of concerning, I guess, for Manchester United fans. I like Ugarte as well. I think he's they've got a decent team. You know what I mean? Obviously, you got a couple other players out there who are a bit like ish kind of thing, but fair. It's like you got a decent enough team in there. This, like I said, this is from the outside, looking in. Now, obviously, moving on to things like the disease, and again, this is just me more guessing more than anything. Obviously, I'm not trying to call Marcus a disease, but him being there wasn't good for the football club, for both parties. It wasn't good for him, and it wasn't good for Manchester United. And obviously, the fact that Ruben Amorim had to obviously come out and, he's saying a few stuff about Marcus Rashford, in terms of why he might not be playing or why he wasn't in the squads and stuff like that. You just knew it had to kind of end. But then also, you got players like Sancho there as well. Obviously, he's at Chelsea now, but those are the kind of things I'm talking about. Forget the player themselves and don't get too bogged down in the, if you feel like they've been mistreated or all of that, it actually doesn't even matter at this point. When you've got individuals like this at your football club who don't really want to be there for whatever reason, whether they're right or wrong, irrelevant. If they don't want to be there, brother, get them out of there. You know what I mean? So Sancho clearly didn't want to be there because he's out here putting freedom this and he's been doing this though, but he don't want to be there in the first place. He didn't want to be there in the first place. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like it just wasn't, Manchester United probably just wasn't what he thought it was going to be. Regardless of the manager and if it probably just wasn't what he thought it was going to be. Rashford, you can tell for ages, this guy don't really want to be the way he's performing and, certain things, maybe training and that, like he doesn't look like he wants. That's fine though. That is fine. Sometimes some players, you just lose the love for the club. All right, cool, bounce. Forget the reasoning, but I don't care about all of that. And that's what I feel like Manchester United fans are so concerned with this kind of thing. You're not even realizing, brother, your team is shit. Like your team is so shit right now that shouldn't even be your concern. Just get them out and we can move. Say thank you, love for being here, doing your thing. One FA Cup and them thing there. League Cup, cool, rich, cool, and can we go? That but you're so like I'm seeing Man United fans going back and forth like, oh, but he's been mistreated and this. I hear all of that. And again, I'm from the outside looking in, but we hear that. That's great. Yeah, like I feel it for you. But your team is shit right now. It's not doing well. You've got way bigger problems than these two, I can promise you. Do you know what I mean? They might be a part of a bit of the problem, but you got bigger problems than that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So when I'm seeing all of these kind of things, I'm always like, I just think it's a case of it's going to take time in order for a big institution like Manchester United to get back to where they probably feel they should be, which is ultimately still one of the biggest clubs in the world. You can see it with the sponsorship commercials and all that kind of stuff. They're still one of the biggest out there. And this is a team who's been crap for time. So clearly, there is something there. Do you know what I mean? But also at the same time, you can tell there's little things within the football club. And again, I don't know, looking from the outside in, this is where Manchester United fans would have to tell me. But when I'm looking at it from the outside, looking in, I am sitting there thinking, yeah, you can just see that just something ain't right. Whatever it is, there's something, you've got something in your club like it's like, yuck. Like there's something in there that's just me. Like you can see this is the reason why you've had to have LVG, you've had to have Rangnick, Solskjaer, Ten Hag, Moyes, Mourinho. This is why you've had all of these guys, and Mourinho probably being the most successful in terms of being able to finish second. To be fair, Oli did, but finish second, won a Europa League, like League Cup and all, like, you know what I mean? That you've been able to do that under Mourinho, from what I can remember. But outside of that, it's just been like you finished. I think you finished second under Oli. Ten Hag, you finished in the top 4, won a trophy. But you can see that the team just wasn't really a team. It was more I don't even want to say luck, because if you finish somewhere at the end of a season, I can't say it's luck. You didn't. It's not like, oh, you were lucky to finish. Nah, you deserved it over a course of a season. But you could just see the playing style and the fans just not being happy and all of that kind of stuff. Like right now, I just think with Amorim like as your manager right now, I just think, guys, it's all about patience. It's just about patience right now. It's gonna be ugly at first. I promise you. It's gonna be real ugly. I listen. These times, man's laughing at me because we're drawing to West Brom, holding hands and that. Dead. You know how dumb that looked. You know how great it looked after that, though. You know what I mean? You know how great it looked after winning the Premier Champs and that, and now Liverpool have almost like an ethos around the football club in terms of even down to the types of players that we want to sign. It's not even about necessarily data in terms of the metrics for a player. It's the person themselves. It's what type of individual are we signing? It's not just we're signing an individual because this guy fits our team. To be honest, it actually almost feels at times Liverpool don't actually care about that. Liverpool don't really like, that's like, yeah, okay, cool. But what are they like as a person? What's their family like? What's their background like? People may laugh at things like that, but there's a reason why we're where we are and you're where you are. Because clearly some of the individuals that you have signed in the past few seasons clearly don't have the mentality to play for Manchester United. And that's something I've heard Neville, Keane, and various other Manchester United legends say about the team, is like, it's almost like you're obviously, I get it for them because they're so successful, the Keanes, the and the Nevilles and Schmeichels and people. Even when I hear other people just talk about Manchester United, like I get it, because you didn't grow up watching. Well, I said grow up watching, but you, in your time period, in your football time period, Manchester United were this massive team and it meant something. For some of these guys that you're watching, it's like it don't even mean anything to play for this club. They're just picking up wages and it is what it is. I'll be honest, you gotta get that shit out of there. You fully need to get that out of there. Like that can't just be something that you continue doing and then just like, yeah, taking sides. And honestly, bro, there's a reason, like I said, why you're where you are. Doesn't matter what you keep doing. Keep changing managers. It's better for us as rivals. We love it. We love seeing this stuff. You know, who doesn't want to see Manchester United fail? We want to see them relegated. Hope they get relegated down to League Two, and not even lower than that. I want them in like step 6, whatever. It doesn't even matter at this stage. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But it's just from a footballing aspect, like you're watching, you're like, you're even doing dumb things that you just think, why would you do that? Like, do you know what I mean? But listen, who knows what may happen? Any Manchester United fan would like to tell me what the hell the disease is at the football club, I would love to know. And whether or not you feel like it can go or it will go. Because I just think until that's gone, then nothing's going to work out in your favor anyway. No matter what Amorim actually does moving forward. But patience, though. Have patience, and potentially things might, work out for you in the future, man. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section about Manchester United. I'm very intrigued to find out what people think, man.